The invisible energy force. You're not using yet. What if there is a force moving through your life right now? Unseen, untouched, yet quietly shaping everything you feel, everything you create, and everything you attract. Not the kind of force you can measure on a scale or capture with a machine, but a subtler current, like the invisible tide that moves beneath the ocean's surface. A current that has been with you since the moment you were born. A current that will remain long after your final breath. For most people, this current goes unnoticed. They drift through life on its waves without ever realizing it is there. They feel pulled into cycles of exhaustion, of fear, of endless searching for meaning, searching for peace, searching for that missing piece that always seems just out of reach. But what if the missing piece is not outside of you at all? What if the hidden current has been there all along, waiting for you to notice it? The mystic Edgar Cayce once spoke of such forces, energies within and beyond the body, guiding the soul's journey through time. He described them as subtle yet powerful. The true architecture behind every thought, every emotion, every moment of awakening. And though many have forgotten how to feel this current, it has never stopped flowing. You see, this is not just a poetic metaphor, it is a real invitation. Because the unseen force within you can be sensed. It can be cultivated, it can be aligned with, and when you learn how, life begins to open, fear begins to dissolve. A greater sense of purpose begins to rise like dawn over the horizon of your being. By the end of this journey, you will not only know this hidden current by name, you will know how to rest in its flow, how to let it carry you forward, how to trust it as the quiet companion of your soul. So breathe slowly. Let the noise of the world fade for a little while, and step with me into the mystery of the invisible energy force you've always carried, but may not yet have claimed across centuries, across cultures. The hidden current has been given many names. In the East, it was called prana, the breath of life moving in and out of you, the unseen wind that sustains every living thing. The yogis taught that prana was not only in the air you breathe, but also in the light of the sun, in the food that nourishes you, in the very pulse of the universe itself. In China, sages spoke of qi, a flowing river of energy winding through the body, nourishing the organs, moving through meridians, shaping health and harmony. They mapped this current like constellations inside the human form, showing that life itself is not mechanical. It is energetic. Christian mystics whispered of the Holy Spirit, the breath descending gently like a dove, guiding, lifting, reminding. For them, this current was not only energy but presence, a still voice, a fire that warmed the soul when everything else felt cold. And in the quiet records of Edgar Cayce's readings, this current was described as the very essence of your soul's vitality. He spoke of the subtle forces that weave body and spirit together, streams of life force that could be strengthened, neglected, or redirected depending on how you live, how you think, how you open yourself to love. So you see, this is not fantasy. It is not a recent invention of modern spirituality. It is a truth that returns again and again, like waves breaking on every shore of human tradition. Different words, different languages, but always pointing to the same mystery. There is more to you than flesh and thought. And so, my role here is not to preach, not to convince you of a new doctrine. My role is gentler than that. Think of me as a midwife of memory, reminding you of something you already know deep within your bones, because the hidden current does not belong to any culture or to any teacher. It belongs to you, and if you can learn to feel it again, you will not only touch the wisdom of the ancients, you will touch the very heart of your own awakening. There is a presence within you, and around you, that almost no one has been taught to name. It is not your mind, it is not your body, and yet it touches both. It is the invisible force we began to whisper about, a current of vitality that moves like breath through your soul. Not claimed, not owned, simply flowing. Most people pass through life without ever recognizing it. They feel fragments of it, in moments of awe, in sudden clarity, in the way love floods their chest when they hold a child or stand beneath a star-filled sky. But the awareness fades, and the current slips again beneath the surface. Forgotten, hidden. This is why so many live with a quiet sense of emptiness, because the very river meant to guide them has gone unnamed. And here is the truth. This force is not something you can manipulate, not something to bend to your will. The more you try to control it, the more it recedes like water slipping through your hands. Instead, it reveals itself through attunement, through softening, listening, opening. It asks not for mastery, but for relationship. Edgar Cayce described it as the soul's life stream. He said it was both within you and beyond you, and that, when you align with it, your life becomes less of a struggle, more of a flow. Obstacles do not vanish, but they transform into thresholds. Every difficulty a doorway, every loss a teacher, every moment a chance to remember. And that is the path we are about to walk together. In the chapters ahead, you will be guided through these thresholds. You will meet the tests that shape your strength. You will discover the quiet guides that have always been near. You will glimpse the records your soul has carried across lifetimes. And finally, you will return to the greatest truth of all, that love is the integration of every current, every journey, every breath. This is the arc of remembrance, the arc of returning to what has never left you. So let us step forward together, into the current that has been waiting for you all along. There are seasons in life when everything feels heavy, not because you are carrying too much in your hands, but because something invisible presses against your spirit. You wake in the morning and the air feels dense, the hours move, but they move like stone, and even the simplest tasks, answering a call, making a meal, facing another day, feel like climbing uphill with no summit in sight. You've known this feeling. The fatigue that lingers even after sleep. The loneliness that still echoes even when people surround you. The sense that no matter what you do, something essential is missing. It is as if you are walking through life half awake, following patterns, repeating routines, yet never touching the deeper current that you somehow know must exist. This is the unfelt weight. The threshold before discovery. Perhaps you've looked at others and thought, they seem alive in a way I am not. You've wondered why joy feels fleeting, why peace slips through your fingers like water. And though you may not have spoken it aloud, a quiet voice has whispered inside you, there must be more than this. That whisper is not your imagination. It is your soul, trying to remind you of what you already carry within. Edgar Cayce often spoke of this longing, not as a curse but as a sign. He described it as the ache of a soul remembering its origin, yet feeling cut off from the light it once knew. And he taught that this very restlessness, this dissatisfaction with ordinary life, is the soul's way of preparing you for awakening. So if you have felt that emptiness, if you have walked through your days with the weight of something unseen pressing against your chest, know this: it is not proof of failure. It is proof of nearness, like the quiet stillness before dawn, like the hush before the first note of music. This ache, this heaviness, is a threshold. You are standing in the doorway between two lives, the life of repetition and the life of realization. Close your eyes for a moment if you wish. Imagine yourself walking a long road. The pack on your shoulders grows heavier with every step. Inside it are doubts, regrets, questions with no answers. You feel weary, ready to stop. And yet, just ahead there is the faint glow of light beyond the horizon. You cannot see the sun yet, but you can sense it. That is where you are now. At the edge of something vast. The weight you feel is not meant to crush you. It is meant to draw you inward. It is meant to call forth a strength, a clarity, a deeper awareness that cannot be touched by the surface of life. And when you understand this, when you begin to see the ache as invitation rather than punishment, everything begins to shift. For what feels like emptiness is often the first stirring of awakening. The heaviness you carry is not an end. It is a beginning, and the journey is about to unfold. Life has a way of speaking to you in whispers before it ever raises its voice. At first, it's subtle, a moment that feels strangely familiar, a pattern that seems to repeat, a conversation that echoes something you thought you had already moved past. These are the mirrors of the self. They appear in the small encounters of daily life. The friend who triggers the same wound you thought was healed. The relationship that cycles back to the same argument. The opportunities that slip away in the very same way. It may seem random. It may even feel like punishment, but it is not. Each mirror is a passage, a threshold disguised as ordinary life. Edgar Cayce described this life as a school of the soul. He said that what repeats itself around you is not there to torment you. It is there to reveal you, to bring forward what lies hidden, so that it may finally be seen, finally transformed. Think of it this way. Life holds up a mirror, not to judge you, but to show you what is asking for healing. When you feel frustration rising in your chest, when old fear surfaces again in a new disguise, when the same story keeps looping back into your path, it is not because you failed. It is because your soul is asking to be free. Pause for a moment and remember. Can you recall a time when the same challenge showed up again and again? Perhaps in love, perhaps in work, perhaps in the way you speak to yourself in silence. Notice how life brought it to you not once but many times, as if it refused to let you forget. This is the compassion of the universe, though it may not feel that way at first. Because life will return the lesson until you can see it, until you can bless it, until you can finally walk through it. Here is your practice for this first passage. Notice without judgment. The next time a mirror appears, resist the urge to turn away. Resist the urge to blame yourself or someone else. Instead, breathe, observe. Whisper gently to yourself, this is a doorway. I am being shown what is ready to heal. Feel the shift that happens when you no longer see it as punishment, but as invitation. The energy softens. The fear loosens, and what once felt like a wound begins to feel like a teacher. Close your eyes now if you wish. Imagine standing before a great mirror that stretches endlessly in both directions. At first you see your reflection with all its imperfections, the flaws you criticize, the patterns you wish would vanish. But as you continue to gaze, something begins to change. Behind your reflection you glimpse the light of your soul. It is radiant, patient, waiting for you to recognize it. This is the true gift of the mirror, not to condemn, but to awaken. And so, as you step through this first passage, remember, life does not test you to break you. Life reveals you to make you whole, and what happens when you accept the mirror is the beginning of a deeper journey still. Once you begin to notice the mirrors, something changes. Awareness itself is an opening, a widening of the inner eye. And when you take even a single step into this deeper seeing, help begins to appear. Quietly, almost invisibly. Not with thunder, not with flashing lights, but with subtle whispers. It may come as a sudden thought that feels different from your usual stream of mind. Clearer, quieter. A suggestion that seems to rise from nowhere, yet leaves you with a strange peace. It may come as synchronicity. Those strange coincidences that arrive at just the right time. The book that falls from a shelf. The song lyric that feels written just for you. The stranger who speaks the very words you needed to hear, and sometimes it arrives in presence. A sense that someone is near, unseen but benevolent. Watching, guiding, protecting. These are the silent messengers, the subtle language of the invisible force that surrounds your life. According to Edgar Cayce, none of these signals are accidental. He spoke of guides, sometimes ancestors, sometimes soul companions, sometimes divine messengers, who walk with you, whether you recognize them or not. He described them as part of the soul's agreement, a promise that no one journeys alone, and so, when awareness begins to stir, they lean closer. They press into your life not to control you, but to remind you, to place gentle hands on the wheel of destiny, nudging you toward the currents of your highest path. But here is the mystery. You still hold the choice. The force organizes. The messengers whisper, but you can ignore them if you wish. You can label them coincidence. You can call them imagination, and life will continue in its old patterns. Or you can listen. You can pause when the synchronicity arrives. You can trust the tug in your chest that says, go there. Speak now. Wait a little longer. And when you listen, the path unfolds with a rhythm that feels almost orchestrated. Try something with me. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Recall a time when life surprised you with perfect timing. Perhaps you met someone by chance, only to realize they shaped your path in profound ways. Perhaps you avoided harm because you felt a sudden urge to pause. Perhaps you stumbled on words that carried you through a dark night. Hold that moment in your heart. Feel the mystery of it. Ask yourself, was it really random? Or was it the invisible force moving gently on your behalf? The truth is, the universe speaks constantly, through symbols, through dreams, through whispers in the quiet of your heart. But most of the time, you are moving too quickly to hear. Now, as you learn to listen, you begin to notice the subtle patterns. You begin to realize that guidance is not rare, it is constant. And when you walk in harmony with it, life ceases to feel like struggle. It becomes a dance, a conversation, a journey guided by invisible hands. This is the gift of the silent messengers. They remind you that you are never alone. They remind you that life is always speaking, always conspiring for your awakening. And yet, what happens when you trust these signals fully is even more mysterious still. When you begin to notice the whispers, and when you dare to follow them, something remarkable begins to shift inside you. It is as though you are led into a sacred space, not a place made of stone or wood, but a temple within, hidden, silent, waiting. Close your eyes if you wish. Imagine walking along a quiet path at dusk. The air is still. The trees part, and there before you rises a temple you have never seen. Yet somehow you recognize it. You step inside. The hall is vast, yet it feels familiar. Shelves stretch upward, lined with scrolls and records, as though every moment of your soul's journey has been carefully kept. You realize, this is the classroom of your life. This is the hidden temple where every experience, every mistake, every joy and sorrow becomes a lesson. Edgar Cayce often spoke of such a place, a hall of records, not only in the outer world but written within the soul itself. He said your life is not a random string of events but a curriculum. Every encounter, every challenge, every stumble is designed for learning. And so, when you falter, when you say the wrong word, make the wrong choice, fall into the old pattern, you are not staining your soul, you are refining it. Every stumble is a form of attunement. Every mistake is a teacher in disguise. Every moment of doubt is an invitation to greater strength. Think of the way a musician practices. A wrong note is not a failure, it is a signal. It reveals where the hand must learn to move differently. So too with the soul. A misstep reveals where love has not yet taken root. And when you see this, failure loses its power to shame you. Instead, it becomes part of the song. Perhaps you carry regrets. Words you wish you had never spoken. Choices you wish you had not made. They sit in your memory like shadows that will not lift. But what if you could walk into the hidden temple of your soul and see those moments written, not as sins carved in stone, but as lessons highlighted in gold? What if you could understand that the universe never punishes you for learning slowly, that every stumble has already been woven into your awakening? Take a breath. Feel the relief of that truth. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to grow. So the next time fear rises, the fear of failing, the fear of not being enough. Remember the hidden temple. Remember that you are seated in the classroom of eternity, that every mistake becomes part of your training. And know this: you cannot fall outside the arms of your soul's purpose. Even your errors are part of the path. This is the gift of the hidden temple. It turns your pain into wisdom. It turns your stumbles into songs. It turns your very life into sacred learning. And yet, the journey does not stop here, because beyond the temple, the path begins to widen. And what comes next is even more mysterious still. There are moments in your journey when you begin to sense that the story of your life is not only your own. A conversation feels strangely familiar. A place you've never visited carries the weight of memory. A struggle you face now seems to echo something much older, something carried not just in your body, but in the depths of your soul. These are the threads across time, the pattern memory of the soul. According to Edgar Cayce, your soul is not bound to a single lifetime. You have lived before and you will live again. Each life is a chapter in a much larger book, the book of your eternal being. And just as one chapter carries themes into the next, your soul carries lessons across the ages. What you feel as déjà vu may be the echo of another lifetime. What you recognize in the eyes of another may be a bond carried from long ago. What you fear or long for may have roots in a story much older than this one. And even beyond your own lifetimes, you carry the memory of those who came before you. Ancestral echoes, patterns of resilience, wounds left unhealed, strengths waiting to awaken. You are not just living your story. You are weaving the stories of many. It may be tempting to see this as burden, to think, I must carry all this weight, all this karma, all these shadows. But pause, breathe, look again. The force is not punishing you with these echoes. It is weaving meaning from what seems like chaos. It is guiding you toward the completion of patterns that have lingered for centuries. When you heal a wound of the heart, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing the thread of your lineage. When you choose love where fear once ruled, you are releasing the weight of lifetimes. And when you listen to the call of your soul, you are not beginning the journey. You are continuing one that has always been. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a great loom stretching before you. Golden threads, silver threads, threads of deep blue and crimson. Some tangled, some frayed, but all woven together in a design too vast to see in full. This is your soul's tapestry. Each choice you make adds to its beauty. Each act of forgiveness smooths a knot. Each moment of courage adds a brighter color to the weave. You may not see the full pattern from where you stand, but trust, there is a deeper design. So when life feels chaotic, when events seem random or unfair, remember the loom. Remember that threads stretch across time, binding past to present, present to future. What feels heavy may be the last step of a cycle waiting to be completed. Trust that your soul knows what it is weaving. Trust that nothing is wasted. Every thread is sacred. Every knot holds meaning. Every life is part of the eternal design. And yet, as you begin to glimpse this tapestry, something even more profound awaits. Because beyond the patterns of time, the soul carries memories that stretch not just through lifetimes, but beyond the veil itself. There comes a moment when the invisible force is no longer only something that guides you from behind the veil. It becomes something that stands before you, asking to be acknowledged. This is the moment of choice. Not every choice you make is small. Some choices carry the weight of lifetimes. They become thresholds. They become contracts with your own soul. Free will is the great gift you carry into this world. Edgar Cayce often reminded us that no force, no destiny, no divine decree will ever override the sovereignty of your soul. The path is written in possibility, but you must choose how to walk it. And so, at every turning point, life places before you two paths. To stay asleep, or to awaken, to repeat old cycles, or to step into new patterns, to close your heart, or to open it wider than before. Each decision becomes a vow you whisper to yourself. Each choice is a thread added to your tapestry. Pause here. Feel into your own life. Think of the choices you have already made, the ones that shaped who you are today. Some came in quiet moments. Others arrived like storms. Some you regret, others you cherish. But all of them, every single one, has been part of the sacred architecture of your becoming. The cost of staying asleep is subtle, but heavy. When you resist the call of your soul, life begins to feel smaller, tighter, more hollow. Opportunities slip away. The same lessons return again and again, wearing different masks. And yet, when you choose alignment, when you attune yourself to love, forgiveness, and courage, everything begins to open. Life does not become easier, but it becomes infused with meaning. Even pain feels different. Even loss becomes part of a greater design. This is the gift of choice. To say yes to your soul's awakening, to become a conscious co-creator with the force that moves through all things. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself standing before two great doors. One leads into the familiar, comfortable, predictable, but stagnant. The other shimmers with light. It feels uncertain, even frightening, but it carries a resonance deep in your chest, as though your soul recognizes it. Which door do you step through? This is the threshold every soul must face, and when you step through, when you choose the sacred alignment, you enter into a contract with yourself, a vow to live awake, a vow to follow the whisper of the eternal, even when the world tells you to sleep. Remember, the force does not coerce you. It waits, it surrounds you with signs, with synchronicities, with gentle nudges, but the choice, the sacred decision, must come from you. You are free, always free, and in that freedom, you carry the power to transform your life, and to transform the story of your soul across lifetimes. And yet, as powerful as your choices are now, they are not made in isolation. For beyond the veil, beyond this present moment, your soul moves into realms where choice itself takes on new dimensions. That is where our journey leads next. It is one thing to glimpse the mysteries, to touch them in meditation, to feel them in dreams. But the question is always this: how do you live it? How do you bring the invisible into the rhythm of your days? This is the quiet work of integration. You do not need radical leaps. You do not need to abandon the life you have built. The force moves most powerfully through gentle, consistent practice, through the small things that slowly retune the strings of your being. Take the breath. Always begin there. Notice it as it enters. Notice it as it leaves. Let it anchor you here and now. One conscious breath can shift the entire current of a moment. And then prayer. Not the kind bound to strict words, but the kind that rises naturally from your heart. A whisper of gratitude, a sigh of longing, a silent plea for guidance. Each prayer is a thread you send upward, connecting you with the unseen. Journaling, too, becomes a doorway. Each word you place on the page reveals patterns. Your soul speaks in symbols, in synchronicities, in repeating themes. Writing them down makes the hidden visible. Over time, you will see the weaving. You will notice the lessons repeating until they are received. And then there is presence. The art of being here. To look into the eyes of another and truly see them. To taste your food without distraction. To walk without rushing. Presence turns the ordinary into a temple. It transforms the smallest act into an offering of awareness. Remember, integration is not about perfection. It is about returning, again and again. Returning to the breath. Returning to gratitude. Returning to the vow you have made with your soul. With each return, you strengthen the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Slowly, gently, you become a living channel for the force that animates all things. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your day unfolding like a sacred text. Each choice, each conversation, each pause for silence, all of it is a verse, a prayer, a living meditation. This is how you live the alignment. Not in great leaps, but in steady steps. Not in dramatic visions, but in quiet practices that retune your being to the eternal. The invisible becomes visible through you, through your presence, through your breath, through the love you carry into even the simplest of moments. And as you begin to live this way, you may find that life itself starts to whisper back to you. Signs, synchronicities, gentle confirmations that you are attuning, that you are walking with the force, and yet there is still a deeper integration waiting. One that requires you not only to live the alignment for yourself, but to carry it into the world around you. That is where we go next. There are some of you listening now, carrying grief. Perhaps the absence of someone you loved has left an ache that words cannot soften, a silence in the room where their voice once lived, a longing that lingers in the quiet hours of the night. This is one of the heaviest burdens the human heart can carry. And yet, it is here, in the shadow of grief, that the Force whispers its most compassionate truth. The bond you feel was never only of the body, it was and is of the soul, and souls are not bound by time. They are not broken by death. Edgar Cayce often reminded us that love is the only energy strong enough to pass unbroken through every realm. From the earth you now walk upon, into the afterlife that stretches beyond the veil. Your grief is real, but so is their presence. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine them not gone but shifted, as though a friend has walked into the next room. You cannot see them, but you can still feel the warmth of their essence. Their love still surrounds you, like sunlight pouring in through a window you cannot touch. The Force weaves these unseen connections, through dreams, through memories, through sudden moments when you feel them near. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a whisper, sometimes in the hush of intuition, sometimes in the soft synchronicities that appear in your day. Each one is a reminder. They are not lost, and you are not alone. Your love continues to reach them, and their love continues to reach you. Like two flames burning on either side of a doorway, the light meets in the middle. The ache you feel is not a sign of separation. It is the echo of a bond that refuses to break. It is proof that love endures, stronger than the grave, stronger than time, stronger than even death itself. So breathe now. Breathe into the ache. Allow yourself to weep if the tears come. But know, every tear you shed is received in the vastness of spirit. You are already held in a web of eternal presence. And when your soul's journey brings you across that veil, when the time is right, you will find them again. Not as strangers, but as companions who never left your side. For love is the thread that binds all souls. And love, dear traveler, is eternal. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly, gently. Imagine yourself walking along a quiet path. The air is calm, the light is soft. Each step carries you deeper into a space beyond time, and then, up ahead you see someone waiting, a figure standing in stillness. As you draw closer, you recognize them. It is you, not as you are now, but as you are becoming, your future self. This self carries no frantic tension, no weight of doubt. Their eyes shine with the clarity of one who has remembered. Their presence radiates courage, serenity, and love. Notice the way they stand. Notice the ease in their breath. Notice the quiet authority that comes not from power, but from peace. This is you, the version of yourself who has already stepped into alignment, who is already attuned to the invisible force guiding your soul. They reach out a hand toward you. You can feel their reassurance. They are not far away. They are not unreachable. They live within you even now, waiting patiently for you to catch up. Edgar Cayce often described time as not truly linear but layered, past, present, and future existing as threads of the same fabric. In that sense, your future self is not separate from you. They are here, whispering, guiding, sending courage back along the line of time. Let yourself ask them, what do I need most right now? And listen, perhaps you hear only silence. Perhaps a single word rises within you. Perhaps an image, a memory, or a gentle knowing. Whatever comes, trust it. That is your soul speaking through the wisdom of the self you are becoming. Breathe again. Inhale their courage. Exhale your doubt. Inhale their peace. Exhale your fear. Inhale their love. Exhale the weight you no longer need to carry. Feel how near they are. Feel how much of them already lives in you. You do not need to wait until some distant future to claim this alignment. You can begin now. With each breath, with each choice, with each return to presence, you can live as though you are already them. Because in truth, you are. When you open your eyes, carry that vision with you. Let it be a compass, a reminder that you are not wandering aimlessly. You are walking toward yourself, and your future self, that luminous, steady, radiant being, is waiting with open arms, already here. Already within, already guiding you home. And now, everything you have heard, everything you have remembered, begins to converge. The pathways of energy, the whispers of guidance, the memory of your soul, the choices that shaped your life, all of them, trace back to one source. That source is not hidden in some distant star. It is not locked away in ancient texts. It is not something you must earn through perfection. It is love. Love is the current moving silently through every breath, Love is the invisible rhythm behind every heartbeat. Love is the force that makes existence possible. Edgar Cayce often described it as the very nature of the divine. He said that every act of creation, every fragment of consciousness, is born through love and seeks to return to it. And so, when you feel vitality rising within you, that is love in motion. When you hear an inner voice guiding you, that is love speaking softly. When memories stir of something you cannot name, that too is love, reminding you of where you came from. Even the choices you struggle with, the crossroads you fear, are opportunities love offers again and again to grow closer to yourself. Love refracts into every color of your experience. Sometimes it appears as joy, sometimes as grief, sometimes as stillness, and sometimes as fire, burning away what no longer serves you. But behind every form it takes, it remains the same. Pause here. Close your eyes if you wish. Let yourself feel this beneath the questions, beneath the worries. Beneath the story you carry about who you are, there is love. Always, it is not outside of you. It was never outside of you. It is the very ground of your being, the pulse of your soul. Perhaps you have longed to belong. Perhaps you have feared that you are alone in this vast unfolding. Let these words reach you now. You have never been separate. You have never been unloved. The energy you have been seeking is not a stranger. It is your oldest companion. Every time you extend kindness, you touch it. Every time you forgive, you open to it. Every time you choose courage instead of fear, you align with it. This is what it means to attune to love. Not to chase it, not to beg for it, but to realize you are it. So breathe gently. Inhale and feel love as vitality flowing in. Exhale and feel love as release, as surrender. Inhale and let guidance rise. Exhale and let the old dissolve. With each breath you belong. With each breath you remember. With each breath you return. And now, as we move toward the closing moments of this journey together, hold this truth gently in your heart. The invisible energy you have been seeking is love itself. And love was never missing. It has always been here. It has always been you. And so we arrive here, at the end, which is also a beginning. Do you remember how this journey opened? With a question, with the sense that something had been missing, something invisible yet deeply felt. Now you see, it was never missing. It was waiting for you to pause long enough, to listen deeply enough, to remember the truth has always been here, within your breath, within your soul, within the silent current of love that sustains every moment of your life. You are not wandering through chance. You are not an accident in a vast and empty cosmos. You are the traveler. You are the dreamer. You are the one who remembers. Edgar Cayce spoke often of this remembering. He described it not as a task you must struggle toward, but as a birthright. The soul already knows. The soul already carries the map. The only invitation is to awaken to what has always been, and this awakening is not forced. No hand compels you. No command dictates you. It is gentle. It is sovereign. It is the whisper of your own being, calling you home. So let these final words rest gently upon your heart. You are eternal. You are luminous. You are loved beyond measure. The missing piece was never outside you. It was never withheld. It has been waiting within you, patient and unwavering, until this very moment of recognition. And now, before we part, an invitation. If this journey touched you, if these words stirred something in your soul, consider joining this circle of remembering. Subscribe. Share this with another traveler who longs to hear it. In doing so, you're not simply supporting a channel. You are helping to weave a collective ripple of awakening, one soul to the next, one remembering after another. Together we create a field where love becomes visible again. Together we remember what was never lost. So breathe deeply. Feel the stillness. Let the remembering settle into your bones. The journey continues. Your soul's story is only beginning, and now, step forward with peace. Step forward with trust. Step forward with love, because you are eternal. You are the traveler, and your soul's journey begins now.